I don't hear too many men talking about this, but I'm sure that they do. Um, I think men just tend to, I think men tend to get in relationships whenever it's the easiest for them. And I think it can be harder for certain women who have high standards to find it easy, well, it can be harder for women with high standards, certain types of women with high standards, to get into the type of relationship that she desires. Um, and I think that's always been the case. Um, you know, I think being different is, you know, as the definition goes, it's rare. And having high standards is actually rare. And I don't hear a lot of men talking about the single tax because I think men are pressured and groomed and just biologically have more drive to work for a living. And men are by and large taught that they should protect and provide. And unless you come from the Black community. And, men are trained and groomed to be the providers and to work. And biologically, men are designed to work for a living. And this means labor. This is, when I say work, I'm talking about physical labor. I'm talking about farming. I'm talking about agriculture. I'm talking about hunting. I'm talking about being a lumberjack. I'm talking about the physical and indigenous work that it took the human being to survive on planet Earth. Men are designed to do that work. So are women. But women are designed as a weaker vessel to do different labor with ease. Different labor that may be harder for a man to do. Can a man sew and stitch? Absolutely. Are women more designed for that task? Absolutely. Can women cut down a tree with an axe? Absolutely. Are men more designed for that task? Absolutely. So when I hear women making videos and reels and making complaints about the single tax, what I'm hearing as a single woman over the age of 30, what I'm hearing is the seed of jealousy growing within that woman and her forgetting her place. And I used to think that way. And when I used to look at being single as a problem for me to solve, when I was in a place of, I don't want to say financial instability, but when I was not as financially stable as I am now. And when my father died, and my mourning process involved me looking for a replacement or a sense of comfort from a man, my dating habits and my outlook on my status as a single woman was incredibly different, even 2 years ago. But when I gained stability, when I gained a stable place to stay, stable income, when I gained outward stability and had worked to create outward stability, where there was no more uncertainty in my circumstance because of me taking responsibility for myself as an adult. Which again, ladies, we are all adults here. And I think women forget when they see their friends getting married that you as a single woman are still an adult. And just because a man hasn't chosen you to marry and to have kids with doesn't mean you're not a fucking adult. And I'm so tired of women comparing themselves to married women when you're nothing like a married woman. If you're single over the age of 30, if you're single over the age of 40, if you're single over the age of 50, you have nothing in common with a married woman. And there's generally 3 reasons why you end up single in at these ages as an adult. One is immaturity. Mature people who are ready to have kids tend to get married, and they get married young. And they have set the intention of starting a family, and the decisions that they make are all congruent with starting a family. When you're immature and you like your independence, which is the other reason why you end up single, is because you're independent. Codependent people marry, and they marry young, and they marry quick, and they stay married, and they put up with things that an independent person would not put up with. And back to what I was saying, when I was more insecure in my circumstances, I dated differently. I dealt with men differently. I put up with men differently. Now that am stable, I do not let anyone disturb my peace. And because I love myself and I'm not an insecure woman, although I may be and have been in insecure circumstances, I love myself, which means I can come home and enjoy my own company and be happy because I'm beautiful and I love myself and I treat myself the way I deserve to be treated. And when you're independent and you are financially independent, you stay single. A codependent person will not remain single. Another reason that a person may be single long into their adulthood is their attractiveness. Again, being attractive is rare. It didn't used to be, but it is now in this day and age. So there was a time where an ugly woman would not get married. Now, in this day and age, when homosexuality is rampant and men, because of the food and the stuff they're spraying in the air and all these other things that they have done to weaken our nation, to make it ripe for invasion by foreigners, men in America and in certain nations with certain policies, by all intents and purposes, no longer exist. So if you live in a particular area or a particular nation, you may have noticed as a woman, the more naturally beautiful you are and the more feminine you are, the less likely you are to find a date, find love, or get a man to marry you. Men are only marrying fat, obese, ugly women. So when you're immature, independent, and attractive, or any combination of those things, your chances of being single long into your adulthood is very high because of the demonic climate that we live in. There was a time where the more immature you were as a woman, the more men liked you. Now men don't like feminine, girly women. They like women who behave like men. Why is that? Men don't want, a lot of men don't want to work for a living. And I believe men are not talking about the single taxes because men are married. Men, men are marrying for money. And there was a time where that was something that poor women did. Hypergamy was something that that poor women did. It's not that a man might not have done it, but usually a man who was practicing hypergamy was already in an elite community to even be around women who came from wealth to and a lot of times they're marrying someone's daughter. They have a job within the elite community. They're marrying someone's daughter whose father just happens to have more than he does. He wasn't no fucking peasant. When a man practices hypergamy, 9 times out of 10 he is already an elite who his wife, her father has more than he does. It's not that he is a peasant, it's not that he's broke, it's not that he's poor or uneducated. He is just marrying into a family name or family wealth that is more than what he has already accumulated. Do men in that elite realm practice hypergamy? Absolutely. But there was a time where a working class man was proud to have a labor job, so he wasn't considered a bitch. He was proud to pour concrete or be a factory worker, something to the effect where he was using his physical body and working. And there was a time where that job could afford a stay-at-home mom. Could a man working that job today afford a stay-at-home mom? Absolutely. Absolutely. And those are really the only men who are marrying women that they truly desire. And a lot of them end up with these unappreciative wives because these wives are entitled because they don't have to work, but they are also uneducated, poor women. They're not they're not elite women who don't have to work because elite women are always working, even if it looks like they're not. They are always upholding a tradition, which is a lot of work. It's a different type of work that a peasant does not really understand. And a peasant will look at that type of work as easy. So when a woman who is single feels that she is being taxed by society or by the government because she does not get as much tax breaks as a woman who is married or as a woman who has children, she's showing that she thinks like a peasant. She's not looking at the work that goes into the title and status of wife and mother. So she's showing her immaturity to that status, which is why she is probably still single at her age. That thinking right there, that you're being taxed because you're single when you don't understand the tax breaks come from the extra labor that goes into having more responsibility than a single person, which a married person does and a mother does. So for a single woman to feel she's getting taxed, she's thinking like a peasant who only sees the superficial tip of the iceberg and only sees the supposed wealth and status that may come with being a married woman in society. And when single women complain about a single tax, they're always referencing the cost of hotels and restaurants and trips. I have to pay for this myself, but a married woman, and I'm guessing you're talking about your married friends. Because why the fuck are you, what married woman are you, whose married people's business are you in as a single person that you are clocking their fucking finances? Check yourselves, ladies. I don't want to hear any female in 2006 and beyond talking about there being a single tax. You sound like a fucking peasant who doesn't understand responsibility that comes with status. And you're all and you guys always talk about the cost of hotels and trips and restaurants and all these recreational things, and you never talk about the cost on a woman's health to have to sleep next to a man who snores like a freight train every night. which is what most married women do, because most men who are sick and unattractive get married quick. They make sure they have enough money and they get married quick. A lot of men don't take care of themselves and their health. They require the woman to do it. The more attractive a man is, the more options he has and the less likely he is to settle down at any age. Attractive men don't who can actually get women and keep women. Married men marry that woman, that's her responsibility, is to be with this man who otherwise will be undesirable, probably can't get too many women more than her. Stop worrying about what happens within a marriage, because it is a huge responsibility, and most women are not getting the good end of the deal. They are codependent women who they themselves are too lazy to work and be independent, and they are putting up with things that you, as an independent single woman who's immature, probably doesn't want kids, probably enjoys your freedom, and is probably very attractive, so you probably have a lot of options, so you've probably passed up on several men because you know you can do better than them. Whereas that woman, no matter how good she looks, you don't know what's going on in her head or in her world, where she's too insecure to feel like she can pull something better than her fucking husband. Or maybe she's just too lazy. So I don't want to hear no single woman talking about no married tax, because to be married is a huge tax on any woman's health. And stop being jealous of your little friends who got married in college or at 25, and they're doing all the cute 20s married in your 20s shit. See if they still look good by the time they're 29 or 30. See if they still look as good as they look now, and see if they still look as good as you look or will look if you're still single 5 years from now and they're still married 5 years from now. See how good her health as a woman is. Because having a man in your life is no fucking joke. And being married to the wrong man, or being married to a man who's anything less than a killer and a saint, is just it's I don't want to say it's hell, but it's not worth it. If you are worth a damn as a woman, and most women aren't, and that is why they are married. They ain't worth a damn to anybody else but that one man. When you are valuable to society, you're very intimidating, and you have a lot more options, and you know you do, and that's why you're still single in your 30s or 40s. So I don't want to hear nothing about no motherfucking single tax. Why is you clocking married people's finances? And why are you guys worried about the recreational stuff? Who cares if when you go on a trip, you have to pay for the hotel? You get to sleep in the whole bed. You get to control the whole air condition or the heat if you want it on, which I can guarantee you want it hotter than a man would. Peace, Gaddafi Bloom. Why are you worried about the going to a restaurant and splitting the bill and the cost of eating this and that? Bitch, you are a whole adult. Pay your fucking bills and pay for your recreation. Because at the end of the day, how stupid is I thought single women, I thought we were supposed to be smarter than married women. I thought we were supposed to be smarter, more savvy, waiting longer, more savvy about men. I thought we were supposed to have a little more intellect and be more intimidating because we were smarter. So why are you factoring in a single tax? Or why are you factoring in the cost of living when you're single? When at the end of the day, why are you looking at married people as having two incomes? If a woman has a job and a husband, she's doing something wrong. You just have a job. And if you have a job and no husband, you're doing something right. Having a job allows a woman to stay away from men that are not good enough, or God forbid, that are dangerous and abusive. Having a man should be protection and provision, so you don't have to go out into society and work. So if a woman has a job and a husband, she has done something wrong. That, and I'm not trying to ridicule all the women who are married and still have to work, but most of them are. As a single woman, why the fuck would you even envy that? Because the only reason you are even clocking how much your cost of living is compared to a married woman's is because you're around married women. And if you as a single woman were not surrounded by a bunch of married women, where you would not even have time to compare yourself to them, to even let the seed of envy grow, because you feel that their life might be a little bit easier than yours because they have two incomes. Why the fuck do why you if you have a husband, you shouldn't have anything else except maybe some kids. Now, I'm not saying in this day and age that a woman should not have her own source of income. I get it. But there's no single tax, there's no two incomes in a marriage. A woman should not have to work. She should be smart enough to have her own income. And a lot of times, what that looked like before women became so hyper independent was a woman had her own family resources to return to in the case that she had to leave that husband. It looked like she had a family to go back to if she had to leave that man or if he did not take care of her. It looked like she had friends and a support system in the event that he died and didn't leave money or left and didn't take care of her. But the moment she got married, her father and her community and her church and her support system should have made sure that he paid his dues to marry her as bride. Even peasants know that shit. So why as a woman are you looking at marriage as having two incomes? When if a woman has a husband and a job, that's not very smart now, is it? It's smarter to just have a job or a husband. So I can guarantee the reason the reason you're single is because you probably, unlike all of your married female friends that you are clocking their finances saying, well, gee, they only had to pay half or pay this and that. You're probably single because you didn't want to marry a broke fucking man like all of your friends did. And if you one of these white girls and all your friends is rich and they married all of these guys who are rich at the age of 25 because they trust fund babies or whatever the fuck, mind your fucking business. Because white people get divorced as quick as they get married because they can afford to. So if you one of these white girls who your friends actually marry some rich guys, get away from your married friends and go find the single rich guys that are still available to you at your age. And be smart enough to make your fucking white privilege work for you. Because I know not no nigga bitch talking about clocking her friend's fucking finances as if she married some rich dude. Nope, nope, no black woman marry no. So if you, and it's all these white women talking about the single tax and the tax of being single, because you white women believe you should not have to work for a living. You white women believe someone's coming to save you from this economy. And all your friends got a black or brown or Asian dude to take care of them, and you had some righteousness about you. You didn't go the interracial route and suck up whatever black or brown person you could manipulate into being your personal slave like all your other white female friends, which is probably another reason you're single as a white woman. You didn't lower yourself to interracial dating just to make it out here. You're actually making it out here. So get out here and make it and pay your bills. Because if you're going out and you're single, you should be paying your bill. And you going out and you're single, if you bother to look good when you went out, which is what most of you women just refuse to fucking do. You refuse to go out by yourself and look good, which is why no men approach you, because you're always with your stupid, ugly friends, which is why no men approach you. So if you went out and had the fucking confidence it took to go out in some heels and a dress and do your hair and look good and go out somewhere where men have money, where it costs to be, somewhere that's not crowded and that's not loud. Okay. and meet men who can actually have a conversation with you, and because it's not loud and it's not crowded and you can hear how smart and intellectual they are, to know if a man is smart and intellectual, he's able to make money. If a man's not that smart, he needs to be strong in order to make money. But if he's dumb and weak, you know, he's probably gonna perform homosexuality to get by. That's what dumb, weak men do. They know they're completely castrated, so they perform homosexuality to make it. And you got a lot of women out here still dating them. Cause a faggot will still date a dumb bitch who just needs to have a man in her life just to say she has one. So as a single woman, please love yourself a little bit more, and for God's sake, stop hanging around married people and your married friends and get out and start dating and get into the single community and accept that you're single. Go out and look nice as a woman, which is your duty. Stop being mad that no men approach you when you don't want to even look good, and go out and invest in yourself. And stop worrying about what a married woman has, and stop assuming and being immature and assuming that just because a woman has a husband that she doesn't have to work for a living, and or just assuming that just because a woman has a husband and she has a job that her life is somehow easier because she has a husband to help with this and help with that. How the fuck is he helping if she still has a job? How is he helping her if she has to work? Be smart, ladies. If a woman is in a marriage where there is two incomes, she's helping him. She's helping him look like a man in life when he probably couldn't make it without her. Because men who can afford to be single, they don't get married to any old fat ugly bitch, and they will divorce a woman the moment she loses her place. They'll divorce her and they'll get a woman who knows her place. So a lot of men stay married because they cannot afford the lifestyle that they have if they were single. Do you want a man choosing you because of your job? Because of how much you make? Because I can guarantee you, eight times out of 10 in America, that's why a man is choosing to marry the woman, because of how much she makes. Because for him, he can afford to have a car and have a bigger and have a garage or a basement, and have a so big in screen TV and all this other stuff that people have that I don't have. But you know what? When I want to go fine dine and spend $100 on a meal, I can do that. I don't have a big screen TV. I don't have a garage. I don't have a fancy car. And I don't have a husband. But when I work and I pay my bills and then I want to entertain myself or treat myself, I can gladly go out somewhere and I can look good enough to get a stranger to pay for my meal. I done got married men who was out with their family, sat next to them at the bar and paid for my meal. Men will pay for you if you're a decent woman. Hell, they'll pay for you if you're not. They'll pay for you if you're a sex worker. It's so fucking easy to get money from men as a single woman. A married woman is married because she ain't about that life. She can't really. I'm so tired of single woman comparing yourself to a married woman when you guys got to get your head out of your ass and recognize if you're single over the age of 35 or 40, you ain't nothing like no married woman. You don't think like her. You don't look like her. You don't act like her. You don't want the things out of life that she wants, and which is probably why you are still single. And there's nothing wrong with that. But how dare you fucking clock married people's finances? Like you really want to deal with what it means to have a man and the shit that women put up with having a man. You think they're going home having great sex every night? Or you think they're going home to him snoring like a fucking freight train? I'm sure the sex is good, few and far between, and this, and that. But and marriage is great. It's a great goal. But when you find love, that's when you've hit the jackpot. The moment you fall in love, that's when it's okay to say, you know what? I'll marry this man who can't protect or provide because I love him. That's great. But at the end of the day, ladies, you know you haven't fallen in love with none of these motherfuckers because they broke, and you're smart. You're not finna marry a broke man and let him go around having the status of having a wife and having everything this and that when you fucking going to work making as much, if not more, than he is. Only men who really can afford in America that aren't millionaires who can afford to have a stay-at-home wife are men who work with their bodies and do labor jobs for a living. They're the only ones who are realistically making enough to even buy a fucking home or even a nice condo that could have 3 bedrooms in it to start a family. All these other men are fucking faggots. So ladies, stop. Don't let that seed of jealousy grow where you start feeling that you're being taxed for being single. No, you may not get as much tax breaks as a married person, but you know what? You also are probably uneducated enough where you don't have to go marry some foreigner for a fucking green card. Just what a lot of women. Don't look at me. Stop look. This ain't the 1800s, 1700s. This ain't back in the day. This ain't ancient Kemet and all this regal royal. This ain't that. You don't want these men out here. Ask a married woman. Stop going out and seeing, oh, their husband paying the bill or they split. I'll be damn splitting a bill, double income. Y'all sound stupid as fuck. Who the fuck go to a hotel and go on vacation and the man not paying for the whole thing? How you with a man and gotta pull out your wallet for anything? How you whole entire married? And y'all are envying that. That the economy ain't that bad for you to feel like you are being taxed because you have a job and no man when she got a man and a job and kids. And y'all feel like y'all are being taxed. Uh, Single mothers get the tax break because of the labor it takes to raise a child. And not so smart women who are okay with getting pregnant and staying pregnant will keep getting pregnant and staying pregnant to get money from the government. I like being beautiful. I like having something to do every day that allows me to get up and move my body because despite what I look like, I'm not that disciplined, and I do need routine and structure to keep me disciplined. I was blessed to have parents that were disciplined and disciplined me because it's not easy for me to keep routines and stuff. I love being in my space. I love Netflixing and chilling and eating and this and that. So especially at this age, I love having a reason to get up and get out the house and walk and get moving and get dressed and get out. Because once I get out, it's not that hard to get to the gym or it's not that hard to do something. But you know, that's my life. And I would rather do that than pump out a baby every year, hoping that the government will still give money for some shit like that. I'd rather work for a living. And even when I was in relationships and when I get in a relationship, I'm still not going to want kids. I'm going to want to enjoy my freedom and my independence. And there's a lot of women who ain't built like that. So so it's not the single tax. It's the cost of independence. You would never pay the tax and the cost for codependency, which is why you're a single woman at your age. I promise you. You don't want to pay the cost and or the tax of being unattractive enough for someone to want to marry you. You don't want to pay the cost in the tax of having children and having to raise them because you worried about going to dinner and splitting the bill with somebody. Try having 2 3 mouths to feed and can't go to a fancy dinner because you got to cook cheap shit because you decided to have children in this fucked up economy. You know, y'all don't want to pay the married tax. You don't you don't, and if you do, then go get married. Then go fucking get married. If the seed of jealousy is growing within you and you feel marriage is going to make your life so much easier as an adult woman who has to work, then go get married and see if you if and go try and get some rich dude to marry you, or go find some dude to marry you and hope he keeps his fucking job after you marry him, or see do he not start depending on your money. See, do he not go from all that Prince Charming shit that these men put on, and then they get you, and then they show who they really are after they get you. So, if, ladies, if you so worried about splitting the hotel bill with a motherfucker, then go get married. Because you sound superficial. And you sound like you feel like you deserve to have a man just pay for shit for you. And this is why men are not marrying women no more. Because they're sick of the gold digging shit. And they're looking for love, and they can't afford it. And they know all women are looking for a way out of having to work. And men are not as dumb as women are taught that they are. Women are stupid. And these men ain't never been dumb. They letting y'all think that y'all are smarter than you ever could even hope to be. You just stupid women. All of y'all. You're just dumb women. And you say dumb shit. Oh, I'm being taxed because I'm single. No, you're an adult. You're being taxed because you're an adult. Just because you don't have a man doesn't mean you're paying more expenses than a woman who does. You getting off better because you are in your own space. She has to share space with a filthy man. These women ain't married to Brad Pitt, and these women ain't married to whoever y'all like now. They not married to these sex symbols. Who's sex actors ain't? I can't even think of an actor that's even sexy that a woman would want to marry. Idris Elba. Okay, maybe him. He's married. Anyway, these women ain't. They not married to no Idris Elba. They not married to Denzel Washington. They not married. They not married to Chadwick Boseman. He was so great in Black Panther. They're not married to these good looking dapper gents. They're married to fat stupid men who probably are not clean, who probably are annoying, you know what I'm saying? And half of them go out, acting like they're married men and women. They go out and they act like they single. Because at the end of the day, they're only after it's all said and done, they're only still with their spouse because they're too lazy to do life by themselves. As a single person, no, you want to be taxed for being beautiful and smart and independent because it costs. It's a lot of discipline comes with this lifestyle. And as a single person, if you're doing being single right, you should see how much better in this day and age, especially as a woman, you should see how much better you are becoming as a woman compared to these married women who are codependent to these men who are not masculine. But for the most part, by all means, mind your own fucking business. And don't worry about what tax break someone else is getting. Get your finances in order, and if you feel being single is so fucking expensive, go to a country where a man will marry a foreign woman just cause, and see, do you really need a man in your life that bad? Are you willing to wait until and keep living your life until love happens to you, to where money, you don't even think about money because you've actually fallen in love? So, but peace, Gaddafi Bloom. Good morning. So, if no one else has anything to say, start hanging out with more single people as a single person. And I've decided to start hosting more events, more birthday events, and more events like I used to host every year. But from here on out, I'm only going to be inviting people that I know are single. Um, because at the end of the day, our life is different, but you have to embrace that, and a serious, you have to set a serious boundary when you're single. You have to set a real boundary with people who are in relationships and how you deal with them. So you don't compare yourself to them, because your life is different than theirs. And they're doing different things, they're making different decisions. And the more you are worried about what someone else has and more you are coveting what they have, the less respect you are showing for that status. You're disrespecting it and you're degrading it into something that's just easy when you don't know that what comes with being somebody else. So by all means, mind your business, hang out with single people, keep your money up, and stop listening to the wrong things. Start to listen to married women. Stop stop just hanging out with your friends, and them acting like their life is so great. Because here's the thing, and this is the last thing I want to say about the single tax, and this is something that I want to remind single women especially. Married women think they are better than you. Every woman who has a man thinks she's better than a woman who doesn't have a man, because human women, unlike witches, are validated by men. So a lot of times you're single you're single because you're more beautiful than other women, and a lot of men can't pass the test of being with a beautiful woman. They never pass that the test of, oh, does he have money? Is he strong? Can he fight? Blah blah blah. But can he say no to other women who are trying to compete with you? Can he put his mother in his place and every other woman who's going to try to compete with you and knock you down because you are the most deserving of a man because of your beauty, which is never skin deep, but because of your beauty? Because you are superior to other women through beauty and femininity, and you are the most worthy of a man. Is that man worthy of you? And if a man can't, most men are not going to pass the test of being worthy of the most beautiful woman. He knows internally he's not. So he is going to allow these ugly women who are going to try and use him as a tool to compete with you. 100% of the time, he will let that happen. That's another reason you are single. Men are not worthy of you, and they know it. And in their shame, they will get the first ugliest woman that will make him feel like, oh, I have somebody, but I couldn't get that beautiful woman, but I'm still not alone. So I don't want to look like I'm the problem. You want to be a Rolls fucking Royce that no one can afford. You don't want to be a fucking hoopty that everyone ran through, that's been used and that anyone can sell to anyone. You want to be the Rolls Royce at the top that's hidden in some secret garage somewhere in Dubai that a person got to get on a flight and a boat to go retrieve, that no one can afford. That's what you want to be. Because if you're that, that's what you are in God's eyes too. And how a woman looks is how God feels about her. How a woman looks is how God feels about her. So if you have beauty, you don't need a fucking man. God already made you superior to other women. You don't need a man for anything if you have beauty. Now look at having a job and having independence as a woman as having the beauty that you probably really don't have, because if you're saying stupid shit like single tax, you probably don't know how much it costs to be ugly and fat and stupid and married and still working, because you need the shame, because you're not beautiful enough, and you need the shame taken off of you by at least being able to say, well, I'm married, I got a man, my husband. If you are more beautiful than other women, you don't need anything else in this world. God already designed you superior to other women. And you most likely are a witch, which is why you have superiority to the human being. So look at single as being a witch. Look at having a job and having to work because you don't have a husband as being more beautiful than other women. Start to look at it like that, and start to look at women are getting tax breaks for having a man because having a man is harder on a woman than being single. She's supporting him. God, if you don't have a man and you have a job, look at it as God is supporting you. And try covering your head when you go out. If you're single, try acting like a Hebrew Israelite no matter what your culture is. Try acting like a real Christian woman, like a Hebrew Israelite, and try covering your head the way a single or any woman really should. Try covering your head and showing that you have some type of covering, and showing that you're not desperate and that you keep yourself covered, even if a man ain't covered you with a ring, that God covers you and you honor yourself. Try doing that and see how many men start to notice you because they see dignity instead of desperation. I don't think you women know how desperate y'all come across to men. They already know you ain't beautiful. I because y'all, the way y'all carry yourselves, you don't carry yourselves with any confidence. So at the end, so ladies, why don't you try doing something a little fucking different and mind your business, and stop worrying about what married people or single mothers who have kids, stop worrying about what tax break they're getting at the end of the year, and start appreciating the fact that you look good, you have a job, you can walk, which means you can go put on some high heels, learn how to walk in them. Because I know the reason y'all don't dress up is because you can't even fucking walk in high heels, because you so worried about a man coming to pay for everything and save you when you don't even know how to be a woman yet. Half of y'all don't even have enough class to go to a restaurant that would require the bill being split. Y'all dine cheap as fuck and call it having class. You don't have any clue. Most of y'all don't know anything about class. But it's always these middle class white women talking about the single tax. I don't hear black women talking about it. I don't hear men talking about it. It's always these middle class white women, and half of them look gorgeous. But they're talking about the single tax, and I know it's because your friends got married, they got some guy, you know what I'm saying, but hear yourselves. You jealous of a woman who's splitting the bill with her husband? Make that make sense. Yeah, you supposed to be smarter. You supposed to be single because you're smarter than other women, and that's intimidating. You're not supposed to be dumber than other women. Do the fucking math before you come out your mouth talking about the single tax. Just Dennis says message fax message received. Yeah, and I'm really gotta work on not being so long-winded when it's just one subject. But if no one else has anything to say, thank you guys for listening. But again, ladies, my followers and anyone who gets wind of this video, I don't want to hear any single woman, least of all a single woman with no kids, a single income, no kids. I don't want to hear no single income, no kids, having child-free woman complaining about the single tax and not being able to split a bill with somebody. Bitch, go put on a dress and get a man to buy you something and stop. And you know what I'm saying? Or shut the fuck up and know you're single because you just because you say stupid shit like that. Know that saying stupid shit like that is the reason why you the fuck single. All right? Shut the fuck up. Invest in yourself. Learn to walk in high heels and get a man to buy your dinner if that's all the fuck you care about. Because marriage is a lot more than a motherfucker buying your meal every night. Grow up. What do you think marriage is? Shits and giggles? Y'all sound stupid as fuck. And I don't want to hear that shit no more from none of my followers. Get to work. Be an adult. Peace and love.